The first generation of Kage. The first generation of Kage is undoubtedly the one we know the least about. Although they were the founders who laid the foundation for the great shinobi villages, almost no concrete information about their powers exists. We know of Reto, the first Kazekage, founder of the Hidden Sand Village, and Byakuren, the first Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village, whose scarred appearance reflects a lifetime of battle. The same situation applies to A, the first Raikage, the first in a long line of Raikage bearing the same name, and Ishikawa, the first Tsuchikage. Among them, Ishikawa is one of the few about whom we know even a little. He was capable of using Earth Release, and, like later, Tsuchikage such as Onoki and Mu, he could lighten his body's weight to fly, a signature ability of Tsuchikage. But aside from that detail, everything else remains a mystery. Because of this, making a full comparison among the Kage of the first generation is nearly impossible. Fortunately, we don't need to think too hard to determine who was the strongest of them all. The answer is obvious. That person is Senju Hashirama, the first Hokage, known as the God of Shinobi, and often regarded as the single most powerful ninja in the entire history of the shinobi world. He wasn't just the founder of the Hidden Leaf Village, but also the key figure who brought temporary peace to that chaotic era. With his wood-release Kage Genkai, Hashirama could summon the colossal thousand-armed Buddha statue, a construct large enough to overshadow the entire Hidden Leaf Village, capable of clashing evenly with Madara's complete Susanoo. He single-handedly captured all nine-tailed beasts, then distributed them among the villages to maintain balance of power. Even after his death, Hashirama's cells became a priceless resource coveted by countless figures from Orochimaru and Danzo to Madara and Obito. Without a doubt, Senju Hashirama stands as the strongest Kage of the first generation. The second generation of Kage. In this group, we have Shaman, the second Kazekage, and A, the second Raikage. Both briefly appeared during the Kage summit convened by Hashirama, serving as guards to their respective leaders. Almost nothing is known about the true extent of their abilities. Shaman is recognized for the dragon tattoo coiled around his head and for pioneering the use of puppets in warfare, laying the foundation for the Sand Village's puppet mastering tradition, meant to compensate for their lack of manpower. However, since we never saw him in combat, his true strength remains unknown. Similarly, the second Raikage is nearly a blank slate. The only known fact is that he and Tobirama were ambushed by Kinkaku and Ginkaku, an event where both barely survived, but aside from this controversial incident, he left behind no remarkable feats. In contrast, the other three Kage of this generation have clearly defined powers and major roles in history. First is Genjutsu Hozuki, the second Mizukage, a member of the Hozuki clan with the ability to liquefy his body, nullifying most physical attack. He wielded long-range water release techniques, a viscous oil-like liquid to hinder movement, and most notably, his steaming danger tyranny, a vapor clone that repeatedly explodes and regenerates infinitely. On top of that, Genjutsu could summon a giant clam that cast a wide-range genjutsu, deceiving both sight and chakra perception. A true master of water release, genjutsu, and stealth tactics, he was an incredibly difficult opponent to deal with without strong countermeasures or exceptional analytical skills. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, when resurrected through Edo Tensei, Genjutsu was so powerful that he had to personally reveal his weakness so the allied shinobi forces could defeat him, and even then, he inflicted heavy damage with his unique and highly dangerous techniques. Next is Mu, the second Tsuchikage, known as the Invisible Shinobi. He could completely erase his presence, including his chakra signature, and levitate through the Tsuchikage's trademark weight reduction technique. His most devastating weapon, however, was Dust Release Akeke Toda, an evolution beyond Kage Genkai, capable of disintegrating anything at a molecular level, erasing it from existence. Finally, we have Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage, a tactical genius and the creator of numerous cornerstone jutsu in the shinobi world. He invented the Shadow Clone technique, the Flying Thunder God technique, the basis for Minato's later godlike speed, and most notably the Edo Tensei, the legendary resurrection technique used throughout the series. Tobirama was also a master of water release, able to perform techniques such as Water Dragon Bullet with a single-hand seal. Now, let's take a look at the second generation of Kage. We can exclude Shaman and the second Raikage from ranking due to the lack of information. This leaves Tobirama, Mu, and Gengetsu, all of whom possessed exceptional and distinct abilities. In particular, Mu and Genjutsu once fought to the death and killed each other, proving they were equals in strength. Thus, it's fair to say the two were nearly on par. When comparing Tobirama and Mu, even though Mu could turn completely invisible and attack from afar with Dust Release, Tobirama holds significant tactical advantages. As a highly skilled sensory ninja, he could detect chakra within a certain range, making Mu's complete stealth far less effective. If Mu prepared to unleash Dust Release, Tobirama could easily evade it using the Flying Thunder God technique provided he had marked a location beforehand. Mu's reaction speed wasn't overwhelming either, while Tobirama had shown the ability to deliver instantaneous kill strikes, as seen when he slew Izuna Uchiha. Clearly, Tobirama's techniques could completely counter Mu's fighting style. Overall, Tobirama possessed all the tools necessary to effectively neutralize and even dominate the encounter with precise tactical execution. In my view, Gengetsu would actually be Tobirama's most troublesome opponent. Thanks to his liquid body ability, Gengetsu was nearly immune to physical damage while maintaining relentless pressure with his endlessly exploding steaming danger tyranny, forcing Tobirama into constant alertness. Tobirama's water release techniques would be of limited use, since Gengetsu himself was also a master of Sutan. However, Tobirama had specific tools to deal with such opponents. With the Flying Thunder God, he could instantly reposition to evade long-range attacks and strike from unexpected angles. For example, his Heavenly Weeping, a technique in which multiple marked kunai appear simultaneously to deliver a surprise attack, could easily create openings against Gengetsu, though defeating him would still be extremely difficult. In terms of Genjutsu, Gengetsu was also dangerous with the illusion cast by his giant clam. But Tobirama had extensive experience fighting the Uchiha clan, true masters of illusion. With that experience, Gengetsu's Genjutsu would be far less effective against him. Furthermore, Tobirama possessed Genjutsu, Infinite Darkness, a technique that plunges the target into absolute darkness, which could serve as the key move in their battle. Once Gengetsu lost his ability to see or orient himself, Tobirama could strike from the shadows to finish the fight. With his vast chakra reserves and superior battlefield control, Tobirama could prolong the fight until Gengetsu exhausted himself or exploit the smallest opening to end it in an instant. Therefore, within the second generation of Kage, Tobirama Senju rightfully stands at the top. The third generation of Kage. By the time of the third generation of Kage, things became far more complex. This was an era where nearly every Kage possessed tremendous power, and with the abundance of available information, determining who was the strongest among them became a truly difficult debate. In the Hidden Stone Village, Onoki in his youth was one of the most skilled users of Earth Release. He could manipulate the weight of himself and surrounding objects, making them heavier or lighter at will. His most notable technique was Dust Release, a highly advanced Keke Toda that he learned from his teacher, Mu. During the war, he demonstrated multiple variations of Dust Release, such as a cube-shaped one used against Sasuke, and a cone-shaped variant to destroy the vast forest Madara created on the battlefield. In the Hidden Cloud Village, the third Raikage was renowned as one of the most resilient and dangerous shinobi ever to live. With lightning release armor enveloping his body, he was nearly immune to physical attacks, while possessing overwhelming speed and physical strength. He fought the Eight Tails multiple times, and his most legendary feat was single-handedly facing an army of over 10,000 ninja to protect his comrades, a battle that lasted several days before he finally collapsed from exhaustion. His endurance and stamina were further demonstrated in his battle against Naruto. In contrast, the third Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village is completely shrouded in mystery, with no information available, making him impossible to compare. As for the Hidden Sand Village, the third Kazekage was known as the strongest Kazekage in his village's history and wielded Magnet Release, Iron Sand. However, he is often underestimated, partly because he was ambushed and turned into a puppet by Sasori when the latter was still very young. While Iron Sand is a formidable Kekkei Genkai, it has never been shown to possess destructive power on par with techniques like Hell Stab or Dust Release. For that reason, the third Kazekage doesn't quite make a convincing candidate for the title of strongest Kage of his generation. In the Hidden Leaf Village, Hiruzen Sarutobi was known as the God of Shinobi, one of the most well-rounded and knowledgeable ninja in history. He mastered all 5 nature transformations, could summon Enma, directly face the Nine Tails, and wielded numerous forbidden techniques that few dared to use. Early in the series, he was regarded as the strongest Kage alive and served as the pillar of the Leaf Village for generations. However, it's unfortunate that throughout the entire story, we never got to see Hiruzen in his true prime, when his physical strength and chakra reserves were at their peak. Overall, the competition for the strongest of the third generation narrows down to 3 names: Onoki, Hiruzen, and the third Raikage. Starting with Hiruzen versus the third Raikage. Hiruzen didn't possess any offensive technique strong enough to seriously harm the third Raikage, a man who once blocked a Rasen Shuriken and only sustained minor injuries. Even using wind release, which theoretically counters lightning, would have little to no effect against the Raikage's immensely durable lightning release armor. Hiruzen could attempt to use the Reaper Death Seal, but that's a suicidal technique that claims both lives, and to perform it, he would need to make direct contact, something nearly impossible against an opponent with the Raikage's superior speed, stamina, and physical power. Even if he managed to land it, the result might mirror his battle with Orochimaru, where Hiruzen couldn't fully pull out the target's soul. Taking all of this into account, it's extremely difficult for Hiruzen to win. In a direct confrontation, the third Raikage would most likely defeat Hiruzen with relative ease. When comparing Noki and Hiruzen, although Hiruzen was initially regarded as the strongest living Kage by the time of Naruto, Shippuden, that perception had changed. During the battle against Madara Uchiha, Onoki demonstrated the true peak of his power, fighting not just for his village, but for the entire world. That moment of awakening, when he embodied the will of stone, elevated him to a new level, both ideologically and in terms of sheer strength. From a technical standpoint, Hiruzen was indeed impressive for being able to use all 5 nature transformations, but those were still only the basic elemental releases. Onoki, on the other hand, possessed Dust Release Akeke Toda, which combines 3 nature types and stands far above a Keke Genkai in complexity and destructive potential. Hiruzen didn't even have a Keke Genkai, whereas Noki wielded one of the most devastating techniques in the entire series. Furthermore, Noki's endurance was extraordinary. During his fight with Madara, he survived the impact of 2 colossal meteors, and even more impressively, he was positioned directly at the collision point. Therefore, when comparing both at their respective peaks, Onoki clearly surpasses Hiruzen in every aspect. As a result, Hiruzen is officially eliminated from the ranking, leaving Onoki and the third Raikage as the final contenders for the title of the strongest Kage of this generation. At first glance, Onoki seems to have several tools capable of countering his opponent. He can use Earth Release, added Weight Rock technique to increase the Raikage's weight and slow him down, or Earth Release, light Weight Rock technique to lighten himself, granting faster flight and better distance control. Moreover, his Dust Release can disintegrate anything it touches. He once used it to obliterate 20 of Madara's Susanoo clones. In theory, Dust Release could even pierce through the Raikage's lightning armor. However, the biggest issue lies in the third Raikage's speed and durability. To activate Dust Release, Onoki requires a short period of preparation, and within that brief window, the Raikage could easily close the distance with his near-unmatched speed and land a fatal strike. Additionally, the third Raikage fought evenly against the Eight Tails multiple times, and once held off an army of over 10,000 ninja for several days alone. His chakra reserves were said to rival those of a tailed beast, and his stamina ranked among the greatest in the entire shinobi world. Meanwhile, Onoki is known to fatigue quickly in extended battles, whereas the Raikage can maintain peak performance for prolonged periods. Even if Onoki relied on Earth-style defenses, they would struggle to withstand the Hell Stab, one of the most piercing and destructive physical techniques in Naruto, powerful enough to impale even the Raikage's own body. Conversely, the Raikage's near-perfect defense, granted by his lightning release armor, makes him almost untouchable. Therefore, while Onoki's Dust Release could theoretically defeat the Raikage, in a real combat scenario, the Raikage's overwhelming speed, stamina, and endurance would make it nearly impossible for Onoki to execute the technique completely. In the end, the third Raikage would emerge as the victor in this confrontation, the 4th generation of Kage. In this generation, there were also exceptionally powerful Kage, and we have a fairly clear understanding of most of their abilities. In the Hidden Sand Village, we have Rasa, the 4th Kazekage. He possessed a unique Keke Genkai, the ability to manipulate gold dust. This technique allowed him to easily suppress Shukaku whenever Gaara lost control. Rasa could use his sand for offense, defense, and sealing, especially effective in desert environments. However, he was swiftly killed by Orochimaru during the Chunin exams, and later easily defeated after being revived through Edo Tensei in the 4th Great Ninja War. While skilled, it's clear that he wasn't the strongest Kage of his generation. In the Hidden Mist Village, we have Yagura, the 4th Mizukage. Despite his youth, Yagura became the Jinchuriki of Isobu, the 3 Tails, and was the strongest shinobi in the mist at the time. He could control his tailed beast up to its version 1 form, and utilized a variety of water release techniques, including Coral Palm and the Water Mirror technique. However, during the 4th Great Ninja War, when he was controlled by Obito, alongside 5 other Jinchuriki, Yagura didn't leave much of an impression, even less so than Han or Roshi. In the Hidden Stone Village, we have Kurotsuchi, the 4th Tsuchikage, often underrated due to her limited screen time. In reality, she possesses some highly formidable jutsu. As an earth-release kunoichi, Kurotsuchi can manipulate the battlefield terrain with great versatility. She has used techniques like earth flow excavation, turning the ground into traps, and created stone gauntlets to enhance her close combat strikes. Her most remarkable ability is her Kage Genkai, lava release, combining earth with other elements to perform powerful techniques such as lava style, ash stone sealing jutsu, strong enough to temporarily restrain an Otsutsuki in battle. However, overall, Kurotsuchi didn't leave a major impact during the great conflicts. Her skills are impressive, but not enough to rank her among the strongest Kage of the fourth generation. In the Hidden Cloud Village, the fourth Raikage, A was one of the era's most formidable warriors. With superhuman speed granted by his lightning release armor and incredible physical strength, he was known as the fastest shinobi alive during the 5 Kage summit. Though not as durable as his father, the third Raikage, A was still an overwhelming fighter, using high-speed, high-impact tactics to dominate his opponents. Among all Kage, he was one of the few capable of pressuring Minato in the past. Yet even the Raikage himself admitted he was inferior to Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. With his mastery of the Flying Thunder God technique, Hiraishin no Jutsu, lightning-fast battlefield analysis, and access to advanced techniques like Rasengan and high-level sealing jutsu, Minato was a perfectly balanced Kage. During wartime, he earned the title the Yellow Flash of the Leaf, and was nearly unmatched in his era. Therefore, without question, Namikaze Minato stands as the strongest Kage of the fourth generation, the fifth generation of Kage. This was a rather special generation, as at this point only 4 Kage were known, since the Hidden Stone Village had not yet officially appointed a 5th Tsuchikage. In the Hidden Cloud Village, the successor to the Raikage position was Darui, the 5th Raikage. He was once the right-hand man of the 4th Raikage, and was personally trained by both him and the 3rd, so Darui's combat skills were by no means ordinary. Darui mastered both lightning release and water release, and also possessed a very rare Keke Genkai, storm release, which combines lightning and water, allowing him to perform attacks that are both powerful and flexible. He also used Black Lightning, an advanced variant of lightning release, which he could form into the technique Black Panther, looking extremely impressive. During the 4th Great Ninja War, Darui was entrusted with the mission to confront the 2 legends, Kinkaku and Ginkaku, the ones who had caused chaos during the era of the 2nd Raikage. He managed to seal one of them, while the other was dealt with by the team of Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji. However, this battle didn't leave a particularly deep impression. Although Darui was a well-rounded ninja who possessed many rare techniques and played an important role in the war, in terms of prominence and contribution throughout the entire series, he still remained the most inconspicuous name of the 5th generation Kage. Therefore, if we had to pick the weakest among them, unfortunately, it would be Darui. In the Hidden Leaf Village, Tsunade Senju was one of the legendary Sannin and widely recognized as the most skilled medical nin in the world, at least until Sakura reached her level. She was not only a master of healing but also famous for her incredible physical strength and superior taijutsu, which she demonstrated in many battles, especially during the 4th Great Ninja War. Tsunade was not just a healer supporting from the rear. She fought directly on the front lines. In her battle against Madara Uchiha, she shattered part of his Susanoo with a single punch, and even after being pierced by his blade, she survived and continued fighting to protect and aid the other Kage. Tsunade also possessed the Strength of 100 technique, which allowed her to heal any wound without using hand seals, turning her into a nearly indestructible living shield. Together with her summoning creature Katsuyu, who could divide her body, spray acid, and heal hundreds of people at once, Tsunade managed to save all the 5 Kage after their fight against Madara. Overall, Tsunade was a complete and formidable Kage, but since most of her power focused on healing and support, she was not considered the strongest among her generation. In the Hidden Mist Village, the 5th Mizukage Meitarumi was a powerful kunoichi who possessed 2 rare Keke Genkai. She mastered lava release with high destructive power and once used boil release to melt through Sasuke's Susanoo armor, proving her immense offensive potential. Mei was also skilled in water release and several supportive techniques, consistent with the tradition of previous Mizukage. Despite her great abilities, she did not leave a strong impact during the 4th Great Ninja War. Like Tsunade, Mei was more focused on support than offense, so she was not seen as the strongest Kage of her generation. And of course, leading the 5th generation is none other than Gaara, the 5th Kazekage of the Hidden Sand Village. Gaara possesses magnet release, along with the ability to manipulate sand at will, a type of power that is both highly destructive and excels in defense. In the battle against Deidara, he alone unleashed massive attacks, spreading sand like a vast desert, and even personally protected the entire Hidden Sand Village from the destructive C3 blast. Gaara stands out with his sand armor, an automatic defense that reacts to all attacks even from blind spots, thanks to the spirit of his mother residing within the sand. In terms of offense, Gaara can control the entire battlefield with a series of large-scale ninjutsu. From sand pillars that burst upward to pierce enemies, to long-range techniques like sand shower barrage, and especially the massive sand pyramid technique, capable of crushing targets in an instant. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, Gaara was one of the shinobi who contributed the most. He took on a leadership role, fought continuously across multiple fronts, and even personally sealed several Kage who had been reincarnated using Edo Tensei. Thanks to these outstanding achievements in the Great Ninja War, Gaara proved himself to be a well-rounded Kage. Therefore, he fully deserves the title of the strongest Kage of the 5th generation. Moving on to the 6th generation of Kage, we are left with only two names, Hatake Kakashi and Chojuro. And honestly, there isn't much to debate in this case. Hokage Kakashi is clearly superior. Even though he lost his Sharingan, he compensated for it with purple lightning and the seasoned combat prowess of a legendary shinobi. As for Chojuro, despite once being one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist and possessing strong swordsmanship skills, throughout his appearances, he never left a significant impression. He even struggled against the new generation of the 7 ninja swordsmen, which led many to consider him one of the weakest Kage of all time. Therefore, the strongest Kage of the 6th generation is Hatake Kakashi, unless other villages introduce additional Kage strong enough to compete. The 7th generation of Kage. While most of the other Kage retained their positions during the Boruto era, the Hidden Leaf Village underwent another change when Naruto Uzumaki officially became the 7th Hokage. And without question, Naruto is the strongest Kage of the 7th generation. In fact, he is the strongest Kage across all generations that have ever existed. Since taking office, Naruto has become a symbol of peace and a beacon of hope for the entire shinobi world. This was further proven during the Chunin exams in the Boruto series, when the Hidden Leaf Village was attacked by Momoshiki and Kinshiki Tsutsuki. It was Naruto, using the full power of Kurama, who stood up to protect the village, the other Kage, and all the shinobi from the allied villages from total annihilation. And he didn't stop there. Naruto continued to bear the responsibility of protecting the shinobi world, especially during the life or death battle against Ishiki Otsutsuki. In that battle, he unleashed Baryon Mode, the most powerful form seen up to that point. Therefore, it can be said that he is the strongest Kage of all generations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos.